Sawtooth Dave. Another Sunday. It's been kind of a chaotic week. I got some work done, but like less than I thought. We was busy and I lost the whole day doing stuff around the house, stuff that needed to be done. Caught up on some stuff. But I took the time to like film one of these projects I did for Shane on the manual mill there, and I'm gonna insert that video here. Kind of hopefully you enjoy the process. Okay. All right, so we're on Shane's TR4 right now. So I'm gonna kind of do this in steps and hopefully it all makes sense to you. Looking at the inside of this. So this thing never rode on a bearing or washer or anything. So you can see, hopefully you can see this is a raised portion right here. So this little center boss right here is up from the scale part 9 thou. So this is actually what the surface of the blade was riding on. And on this side, you got that same 9 thou raise, but you got a 20 thou counterbore, which was from a wave washer, which basically just kept pressure on it. So basically the knife rode on, would be the washer on this side. See how there's no wear marks on this? So it rode on the washer on this side and on this aluminum on this side. So it was never really meant to be a bearing knife or anything like that. I thought about trying to put bearings on this with the 20 thou counterbore right there. I'm not taking a whole lot more material off, but if you use like a 1/16 bearing, something like this is their Delrin ceramic bearing. So it's 0.62, so I would have to go in here another 42 thou. But because this is aluminum, we needed a steel washer or thrust washer, however you want to call it, like a steel washer to go underneath that bearing. Varying thicknesses on that, and then questionable what do you want to do on thicknesses. So if you look at the total package, and this whole aluminum, this is now aluminum, I'm not really sure what it is, but it's 3/16 of an inch. So basically, if I use 0.62 and then put, say, a 25 thou steel washer under it, you're basically only holding on by 100 thou. Is that enough? Titanium, I would say, yeah, probably. This is aluminum. So I'm not 100% sure that we should go the bearing route. So when I talked to Shane, explained the situation with Shane, he was like, yeah, just do washers. So these washers are only 15 thou. Which is fine on this side because I can just make this counterboard in, just counterboard in the 15 thou and then come back and deck this surface down, and then my washer is going to be at the tallest point. On this side, I already got a counterboard that's 20 thou, so I have to come up or build a thicker washer for this side over here. So that's what we're going to try to do is basically you're going to use different washers. I'm going to use a 10 thou washer on this side, or excuse me, a 15 thou washer on this side. I use probably a couple washers on this side or make one for myself. I'm not sure what we're going to do yet to make this side work, but basically I'm going to try to build it where the washers come up flush to this surface, and then I just mill this surface out, so it'll be raw aluminum right there, which kind of sucks, but it has to ride on that washer. So that whole raised portion, this whole raised round circle, will be have to buzz it down with the mill when I get done. So that's where we're at right now, and we'll do it in steps here. All right, so basically halfway done on Shane's knife here. So this side over here had a 20 thou counterbore. So instead of using the smaller 15 thou, I just went ahead and found these 20 thou. I have a bunch of stuff laying around here. Found these 20 thou. So this counterbore is perfect for this washer, right? So basically all I have to do at this point is this boss is raised up. I just have to relieve it a little bit. So I'll probably cut it down like 5 thou. So it's riding on this washer, not this aluminum surface. So I did the same thing on this side. Basically counterboard it 20 thou from when this was still raised, and then I just relieved it 5 thou. So now you get a nice good fit with your washer in there, and this is all relieved. This won't touch anything. What I had to do, because this is actually a little over 7/8, I just plunged in with a 3/4 and moved it and kind of relieved it. Doesn't look the best as far as surface finish goes, but that's because that's the tool I had to use to do it. If we had something to interpolate it, it probably would have been better, but the actual surface of the washer, hopefully you can see that in there, looks much better. You can see the surface is much shinier on that versus this one that's got the tool chatter, or the actual dragon chips is what it was doing. Hopefully you can see the difference between those two finishes, but that's the surface that the phosphor bronze washer is going to sit in. So once again, 20 thou phosphor bronze washer. So just to kind of show you the reasoning behind doing it, I just got this gauge pin. So it's basically a 230 or 248 thou pin, which is slightly undersized, but You get the idea. You can see now, well, you probably can't see, but I can feel it now. It's sliding on that phosphor bronze and not the aluminum, so it already glides much better. Let's see if I can show you with any kind of certainty in here. You can see the barely light in there. See that little orange that's going between the blade and right there. Hope you can see that. That's the clearance we got. So we got basically a 5 thou clearance now, but it's sitting on that washer, not the aluminum. So it's exactly what we were looking for on this side. Basically on this side, because the counterbore is already to the right depth, all I gotta do is just kiss this aluminum right here around it and we should be in business, but we're about to find out. All right, let's get on it. All right, so you can see I got this other one done. Once again, this counterbore was the right dimension because we were looking for is evenness that where that boss was before on that phosphor bronze washer. So now this is sticking up 20 thou from the original position this was. This is sticking up the 20 thou that was already there. All I did was just deck this boss down and deck that boss down. So we should be, ideally, the exact same position that blade was before. Only problem is now you just lost a little bit of that hard anode on both sides of that. But, you know, for a trade-off for phosphor bronze, I think that's a good trade-off. So let's throw this thing back together and see if it works. Well, all right, we back together. So from the outside, you can't see anything at all has been done. Still seamless. Looks perfect the way it is, but now it just glides out on phosphor bronze washer. So I'm gonna back off a little bit. I'm gonna raise this camera up a little bit so you can see it. Sorry about the shitty camera stuff, but just to show you the action. So now we got that. I don't think you're gonna get much better. You can tighten the pivot down and get it less drop chubby, but I think for a phosphor bronze, for a plunge lock, I think this is definitely an improvement from what it was. Shane was worried about having a detent or not having a detent, so pass my test, Shane. I don't know what you think, bro. Hopefully by the time you see this, it'll probably be off to you or to Kyle to sharpen, one of the two. But yeah, I'm happy with that mod. Fairly simple. Once I figured out what I wanted for the tooling on the Bridgeport and how I wanted to rig it up and stuff like that. So happy with that. Second project off the Bridgeport, or the manual mill rather. I shouldn't say Bridgeport, but there you go. All right, after I got that project done, pretty much sitting around, didn't really have a whole lot of anybody else's stuff to work on, which is actually refreshing for a chance, like, you know, catch up on some of the stuff that I need to catch up on. But you know, idle hands and that sort of thing. So let me show you what I did. All right, in the shop doing stupid shit again. So hey, might as well put it on camera. So this is my Gorky knives, Mr. G. I can't remember what it's called. Pelagius. I can't remember how he says it. This exploded view, because yeah, I'm doing stupid shit like sandblasting a really expensive knife. Wait till you see the next one. So pressed in stud from the blade, so blade stop. Kind of like a Strider-esque pivot system, but it's got a pivot collar on it, so this comes off. We're gonna knock all the fancy stuff like the pocket clip, all that's gonna get subdued and get rid of all that fancy stuff. So you can basically see the construction of the knife. The only thing that I thought was kind of interesting about this particular one, well, he uses all his security Torx instead of like regular Torx. All these are got that stud in the middle, that little security Torx. I'll probably get rid of that. I'll probably just take it to the mill and get rid of that little stud in the middle and just make it regular Torx, but we'll see. But you can see this on the show side, how he actually drilled it for the detent so he could put both these together. I'm sure he screwed it together at the time, and then I'm assuming because it's handmade, this is how he profiled it. It's kind of a good idea, really. I like it. So you can just sandwich the whole thing together and do whatever you need to do. So I think it's a great idea. Probably, I might incorporate that into doing something myself. All right, well, there's the Mr. G. Stand by. Show you the next one. All right, another continuation of Dave the Stupid Shit When Left Unsupervised. This is my dollar bore unnamed model. Very expensive knife. The pivot was completely Loctited, and you can probably still see the residual Loctite on this. And I could look in the side of it, and I could see that there were nylon washers. So it ran on nylon washers. So I didn't really want to add heat. It's basically like, what's the trade-off here? I could add heat, possibly damage these, and have to make new ones. Or I could just put a hole in it to keep the thing from from spinning. I guess this will make sense in a second. So I just dropped in with a mill, put a little hole, basically, so when this was in here, it was just spinning with that Loctite. So I dropped in with that hole so I could just stick a little 1/8" pin in there and keep it from spinning so I could back it off. That's basically how I got it apart. But this is an integral, obviously, right? Let me knock that back out here. There we go. Yeah, I took it apart because I'm definitely blasting it. I never liked the color on this one, and actually just about everybody that's seen it likes everything but the color. So we're gonna knock the ugly off this thing. Interesting design. You can see how you dropped in with the end mill and then dropped in and machined out. I'm assuming that's how he did it. The stop pin is the interesting thing for me. Let's see if I can get where I can show you. There he is. So you see this little stub of a pin right here. So you had to come in with a small 90-degree drill and drill in enough to get that pin to locate. But other than that, like I would have thought he would have had it come from the side, but he never did. So hey, props to him for figuring out how to do it that way. I guess it works. It does leave me a little concerned, you know, as far as like, so the stop is basically for the closed position. If I can get it in here, you know what I mean. It's closed, so when it's open, it's on the stud. So it's not really that stop pin is holding a lot of force other than the detent force basically on it. But if you've never seen a dollar bore apart, which this is the first one I took apart, I figured it's worth showing. Let's go ahead and stick some parts in the sandblaster and make it look better. All right, so we got the finished products now. Sorry about the dog walking around here crazy as hell. I still haven't figured out how to finish this one. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and sand that down and then blast just the edges of this, kind of make it that same gray subdued and leave the brown where it is and let the chips fall where they may, kind of thing. I don't know. You'll get any ideas on finishing, let me know. But Crusader I did carry once this week to make sure it was all good, but I'm pretty happy with the chop on this one. I did end up doing, well, I'll do that. I'll go over that in a second, but you can see both those have been done now. So we'll start with Mr. G since we started that on the other video. So same knife, but all the pretty collar and the clip and all the heat anode, all that shit's gone now. So I had to do it and make it the way I liked it. So yep, monotone, my style. Interestingly enough, this stud was kind of on the other side and this was on this side, but it didn't make sense to me because when I finger flick this knife, I just always use that hole, but thumb flicking, you can get up here and use a stud. So I reversed the pin. It doesn't really matter because it's basically stopping the same spot anyhow. And for me, mechanically speaking, it makes more sense to have more engagement on your lock side, so that doesn't change. So that's what I did that on this one. So this is the Mr. G. I'm really happy how that came out monotone wise. Love that thing. The only thing I think I might do is I might etch the blade. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I love how all the titanium looks nice and subdued now instead of those pretty colors. Just pretty colors just ain't me, man. Like, you know, we're all different, but just ain't me. So I'll leave that for your viewer pleasure. Dollar bore. This one kind of come out cool too because I left the pivot collars as they were. So it's kind of got that black gray subdued. And actually after this one came out like this, I was like, maybe I'll do something to try to get that same kind of color with this one. So I'm not really sure how he did this. Maybe it's an acid. I don't know. Same with the clip. There's the hole that I was talking about before. And let's see if it doesn't make sense to you how I did this. Let me just grab this. Sorry about the shit camera work here. So what I do is just take a pin. Like this is just a random Dremel that I had sitting here. So it's an 1/8" shank. But if you stick that in there, now you can adjust the pivot without that collar or this part of that female part of that just spinning around. So that's why I put that hole where I did. It's the least invasive, and like even like it is, yeah, it looks like something should be there, but it's not like super out of place, at least not to me. I may come back and fill it in with something else. I don't know, but there's the final product there. Yep, running on nylon, so it's still just as good as it was before. I'm really happy how that came out too, and that looks much more like a me knife. So hopefully you agree, and if you don't, hey, it's mine anyhow, so it doesn't really matter, does it? And then, you know, I had a Medford sitting here too, and I had talked about doing a regrind on this one. This is one of the ones I got done regrinding. I'm like, I don't even know why I regrind it because I really didn't do a whole lot thinning it out or nothing like that. But I did make, instead of keeping this flat, I just use a real, it's gonna be hard to see, it's an 8" wheel. Well, actually both of them are 8" wheel, but it's just a real subtle hollow on the foreground of there. So it did thin it out a little bit on the nose there, and then I thinned it out just a hair back here. So it's subtle. You can't really, if you're looking at it, it pretty much looks like the same knife, but if you felt it the way it was before, it was just a little bit on the thicker side before, and obviously the grind lines are slightly different now, the way I ground it. And of course I had to blast the ugly off this one, which is the flamed hardware. I ended up replacing the screws because I had some 440s sitting here and here now. stop pin as well got blasted. I might come back and make like this satin to kind of match the two-tone, or maybe like satin the top of this and leave the holes in there, the blasted finish, and around that chamfer blasted. I don't know. I may get fancier with it, and I may just leave it as is. I don't know, but I end up doing the Marauder 2. So all 3 of those. Let me back out just a little bit more. But dang, oops, that's in. I said out, mofo. No, I guess I can't go out more. Turn them. There we go. So all 3 of those slightly modified this week. Let's see. We got a couple more to talk about. So for when I started this video, not having a clue what this video was going to be about, I tend to make a pretty long video. I guess I can just talk the talk, huh? So I go through phases. I think I was talking to Jose about this earlier. Like, you go through phases, at least I do, where I love bearing knives. Like, all I want to carry is a bearing knife. Then I go through phases where I like the washer knives, and I just want washer knives. But you also got the option of being able to change. So this is the 229 I did a while back, to put washers on these guys, right? So I went ahead and got some of these. I'll bring it in so in case you guys got one of those, you can read what this is. But the thick washers for the 229. And let me tell you, dude, especially on this knife, and I've handled one other one, I think it was Chris's or Mateo's or somebody, but man, this thing's on the phosphor bronze. New knife, dude. It really does give it a whole lot better feel. For at least for me, anyhow. Like, I guess some people would call this a hard use knife. I guess you could use it hard. It's just a knife for me. Like, I don't know. It just seems like a good knife to me. And I usually run this back up and fidget more or less, but I think it has a better feel with the phosphor bronze. So while I was doing that one, I figured why not get some for this. Remember this artisan I did a while back? I don't even remember what the model is. I just know it's a Snowdy model. So he used to do was it a slip joint or a friction folder or something? He did one that was similar to this a while back. I don't know, probably 10 years ago or something like that. It always was super popular. But in case you got one of those and want to do one of those, this just says for those. And yes, I could have made these washers, but for what they charge for those washers, man, it's just worth just to buy them. It's just, they're not that expensive, and they do a great job. They're super parallel. They're a good machine. Like, well, I'm gonna waste my time doing that something. When you machine something yourself, like you can't find it and you have to machine it yourself, it's worth putting the time into. Well, you can get something like that, but they obviously do some kind of production run on that to get that. Like, the results are way easier just to spend a couple bucks and save yourself the time if you have the money. But anyway, this one didn't turn out as well as that 229, but I am going to give it a little chance to break in, and if it works out, it works out. If it don't. While we're updating things, yeah, let's talk about this. So the Project X, since I was going around the shop and cleaning, I was looking for a bunch of tools and stuff, and I got like shit everywhere. I really need to spend like a week just organizing. That's how chaotic the shop is. But I know Mitch wanted some. Scotch, I think Steve's wanted some, and I think another Steve, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it doesn't really matter who, because like I have two of these that I started, so you can see one's the inside, one's the outside, and they're basically the same. You know, just the process has started. These were done when I machined probably a year. When I first started doing the other one, I think I made one scale, and then I was going to make 5 more. I think I had like 3 people interested, but I only made 2 other blanks. I don't know if it was just time. I can't remember at this point. Like, I don't remember why. But instead of finishing them, so basically what these need, they're just slab side, super thick right now. So comparatively speaking, like you can see, they're just the full thickness. They're not even contoured. This one's contoured. They're not even contoured. They're just big old fat. I don't even know what that size that is. Probably close to 200 thou or something thick. So way, way, way thicker than the stock style scale, almost double the thickness of the stock scale. So what I thought about doing, and for Mitch and for Steve, because I know you guys had already said you want them, and if you don't, that's fine. I might make you some in the future, and I may never make them again. I don't know. Just I found these because I was going through my other stuff, and I found this, so I figured why not do something with it. So I got a counter bore. This is the last of the machining that I didn't do with this. I have to counter bore for the screw heads like this, right? And then I thought about contouring it by hand, trying to do it like slack belt on that 2x72 and just making it contoured. So it won't have this texture on it. It won't have that texture. If either one of you guys are interested, or both of you interested, let me know. And if one of you would rather have the textured, I may just swap you the texture and go with the smooth myself, because I think the smooth is more my flavor. But I'm going to give it a shot. Slack belt trying them and trying to do the counter bore. So y'all let me know what you want there. Let's see. Oh yeah. So while we're talking about balance of, you know, things like washer knives, bearing knives, that sort of thing. I thought this was kind of neat. So last week I mentioned in my videos, as I often do, I asked, like I just did a minute ago with Steve and Mitch, I asked Jose if he wanted to check out that RSK Orca, and he's like, yeah, man, definitely. I ain't never seen it. I want to check it out. So when he got it, I asked him if he liked it. He did. He had a knife for sale. I was willing to part with mine because I wasn't really feeling that RSK. Never really, I don't know, you know, I don't know. Just, it didn't hit me in all the feels, I guess. So anyway, this is my mofo, and he had this mofo. And tell me that ain't a yin and a yang. Like, literally, I don't know if you could tell the colors or not, but they're this exact same colors, just opposite. Like, it almost meant to be, man. Almost meant to be. So, I got this one for Plethora Blades, I don't know, a while back now. I want to say probably close to a couple years, a year and a half, something like that. This one had super thick geometry as far as the blade grind goes. So I had this one regrind. This is before I started grinding stuff. And you see there's no swedge up top, nice thick and stuff like that. Surprisingly enough, the one I got from Jose does have a swedge up top. So it's a little more pointy. And the grind on this one is much better. So, like, I'm not going to say it's, you know, a slicer or nothing like that. It's definitely a hard used knife, but it's definitely a better ground knife to start with than what this one was. Now, this one's ground better now. So we got that one left. So a yin and a yang. But now, you seen I did all that blasting. You know I got a blast cabinet. Actually, it's sitting right here on the floor beside me. And I got more stuff I need to blast. So, will this look like this the next time you see it? Don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and find out. And will I touch it with a grinder? Don't know that either. But we'll have to find that out too. You know, I think I've rambled enough for this week. Like, I got a lot of stuff I probably should be doing versus sitting in here and BSing with y'all. But let's call it a week. I got my Blade Show ticket. Oh, yeah, I forgot to. Hey, Ken, thank you, bro. Ken sent me that link as soon as he got it. And luckily, because I went to the website, the tickets still weren't on sale, but I got my tickets for Blade Show. I signed up for 3 classes. Grumpy Grump was talking about one of his buddies that he knows that's knife maker is doing filework class. So, you know, somebody like that recommends somebody. I'm just going to take their word for it. I signed up for the class. Like, I'm not a fixed blade, not even interested in fixed blades, but this knowledge, like, I'm signing up for the knowledge. I think I signed up for a basic grinding class, which is, you know, what I do. I think at this point I've got my head wrapped around what I like to do as far as regrinds go, but I haven't ground a whole lot of like just stock knives into knives, you know, like I haven't ground stock into knives nearly as much. Like, I'm way more proficient at taking someone that's already ground a knife and then making it what I want. So I thought, why not take the class? Like, it can't hurt. If I learn one thing, it's worth the time, right? You know, if I don't learn anything, I meet some people, be networking, right? So like, to me, that's a no-brainer. And then I took a sharpening class because I suck. I won't say I suck because I can do it if I sit down with time. KME, even Lansky, I can make a knife sharp with either one of those. Like, it just takes time, and I'm generally don't have that kind of time. So I've been sharpening everything with a belt. So I don't know what that class is going to be. If it's going to be taking you through a belt, taking you through stones, taking you through, I don't know, Wicked Edge, KME, TS Prof. It may be all of them. I don't know. So I figured, why not? I'll just sign up for that class too. So if y'all didn't know there was classes at Blade Show, because I hit up Billy and let him know, and he's like, damn, there's classes? I mean, yeah, man, it's like half the event is like, you know, they do the competition thing outside, they do classes, they do the show, like, and if you didn't know that, go to the Blade Show website, check it out. This show is so awesome. You just got to go, man. But I've never experienced the classes before, so I want to try that. So thank you, huge thank you to Ken Faulkner for sending me the link, and then I sent it to Billy, so hopefully we can drag Billy to Blade Show, but we'll see. Billy and Courtney. I don't know if Courtney wants to come or not. But we're going to call it this week. Once again, it's probably a 50-minute video or something stupid crazy. First, I'm telling you, I didn't have anything planned when I sat down, man. Like, nothing. I mean, I knew I was going to show you the Shane video, and I was going to show you the sandblast and stuff, but all the rest of this just kind of come out. Like, I could probably keep going for another hour, too. All right. Y'all have a good week. Later, y'all.